Roberto Mancini was appointed Manchester City's manager in December of 2009. He helped the club win the FA Cup title in the 2010-2011 season before helping them win their first league title in 44 years during the 2011-2012 season. Here's how you can successfully go on and replicate Roberto Mancini's Manchester City tactics in FC24. During the 2011-2012 season, Roberto Mancini preferred two formations, the 4-4-2 as well as the 4-2-3-1 system. The only real difference between the two was the positioning of the two strikers. With the 4-4-2, obviously Aguero and Dzeko were up front looking to try and penetrate and exploit the opposition with their runs in behind or their physicality or even the link-up play. But the one like factor between both of these formations was the four midfielders looking to supply either the attacking midfielder and the striker or the two strikers. Of course, those four midfielders were either the likes of a Gareth Barry or a Nigel de Jong, but the mainstays were David Silva, Samir Nasri on the wings or in those advanced 10 positions, as well as the likes of the box-to-box genius in Yaya Toure. The 2011-2012 season was all about trying to develop the offensive tactics, and of course, the previous season they had won the FA Cup and they had found great success through a strong defensive approach and then getting over the line with 1 or 2 goals. But this season, it was all about trying to develop the next phase of the team, and that was the offensive approach. They brought in the likes of Kun Aguero, they brought in the likes of Samir Nasri to try and add to the midfield and, of course, the attack. Now, this Man City side had 4 brilliant attackers in Tevez, Aguero, the likes of Dzeko, and, of course, Balotelli, and they would frequently rotate between the 4 strike options. Now, this leads me on to believe that the tactical vision should be set to maintaining a standard approach. Now, this will affect both the offense and defense by locking in the fact that the defensive style along with the offensive outlets will all be set to balance. Now, you do want this to occur because Man City were very structured with their defensive approach, but that same structure followed through to the offensive phases of play, looking to maintain the team's formation and the team structure, not really allowing a lot of the players to drift all over the place. Of course, the likes of David Silva and Nasri were afforded this, and that will be down to the individual player instructions, but we will talk about that soon enough. Now, of course, the defensive style should be set to balance, allowing for a bit of pressing in the central areas, but Man City won't really focus on aggressively imposing themselves or pressing the opposition. Of course, in the central areas, in the midfield, trying to disturb the offensive rhythm, that could be applied. The likes of de Jong or Gareth Barry looking to try and intercept the play and break up any offensive rhythms that the midfield from the opposition might be trying to display. But otherwise, Man City were more focused on trying to keep their shape, keep their structure, and make it very difficult for the opposition to try and penetrate them or exploit their backline areas. As you'll see here for the team's width, it is set to 50, creating a good man-v-man type system, as well as the team's depth is set to a mid-block at 60. You don't want to push it up too high because Mancini was very focused on trying to make sure that his backline areas were always protected, so there would be no potential through balls or quick counterattacks that could go ahead and exploit a Julian Lescott, the likes of Vincent Kompany or his fullback areas. As mentioned, the offensive build-up play as well as the chance creation will be set to balanced as well, but this does make a lot more sense as there was not really one style of play that Manchester City would use. It was not really a possession-based brand of football. There was no slow build-up. It was a mix of a bit of everything. They could build out from the back, and when I say that, I mean it very loosely. Joe Hart was not a sweeper keeper by any stretch of the imagination, but he could play those shorter passes into the likes of a Julian Lescott or potentially a Vincent Kompany, and they could progress the ball further forward into the midfield and then further on. Or potentially they could look to transition very effectively from back to front with the fast-paced build-up or even the long ball approach. And that does mean that Joe Hart launches the ball further forward into the tiring, Dzeko, who could win the aerial threats, win the aerial duel and then knock it down to an Aguero, a Tevez, a Balotelli, depending on who was on the field with him. So you want to try and incorporate all these different variations and offensive approaches, but at the same time, with the build-up play being set to balance as well as the chance creation, it will still maintain the 4-4-2 or the 4-2-3-1 system and structure very, very well. Manchester City's attack was very focused in the central narrow areas. You would see the likes of a David Silva, Samir Nasri looking to operate in those central zones, operating in zone 14 as much as possible, not really playing as wingers, but more so as number 10s, attacking midfielders, looking to drift into those central areas and dictate the pace of play, as well as vacate those wider areas for the bombing on fullbacks. It could have been a Kolarov and the likes of a Micah Richards, or it could have been the likes of a Gael Clichy and Pablo Zabaleta bombing on and looking to overlap and supply crosses and cutbacks into the box at all times for the forwards. So you do want to try and maintain a very narrow width, with the individual player instructions for the fullbacks looking to hug the touchlines and make sure that they are the only real width creators in the side. Now, as for the players in the box, you want to set this to 4, and this will create a good overload in the attacking area for those players to potentially go on and be on the end of those potential crosses or cutback situations. And then, of course, as always on the channel, the corners and the free kicks should be set to 4. Taking a look at the individual player roles and instructions, starting off at the front with the strike partnership of mainly Dzeko and, of course, Kun Aguero. Now, for the likes of Dzeko, he will be set to being a target player, but you want him to have that balanced width, as Dzeko and Aguero had a very good understanding, and even the likes of Tevez and Dzeko and Balotelli and Aguero, they all had a very good fluid understanding of where to be on the pitch. When the one was on the left, the other one was on the right, and they would try and work in tandem to try and exploit the opposition's defensive areas. So you want them to be set to a balanced width, but you do need a more physical striker paired up with a more nimble, agile type striker as well. And that was what Aguero was, whereas Dzeko was the more physical brute of the two. And then finally, you want him to stay forward, being the outlet ball for those long balls to be launched into him further up the field. A player like Kun Aguero definitely changed the trajectory of this Manchester City side with his crazy offensive outlets and the fact that he was always available for games, and he was fantastic with just being able to exploit the opposition with those runs in behind or the link-up play when he dropped quite deep. And you do want him to be set to maintaining a balance width, allowing him to interchange with Dzeko on the left or the right-hand side, as well as the attack runs being set to mix. Now, this will incorporate the target man approach, and of course Aguero was quite small. I think he was 5'7", 5'8", not the tallest of strikers, but he had some great physicality and a low sense of gravity that he could definitely use to his advantage. But at the same time, Aguero's runs in behind, his link-up play, the fact that he could also drop quite deep and almost play as a false 9 was a very underrated ability, especially in those earlier stages of his Manchester City career. So you do at times want to see him drop quite deep and link up with the other midfielders. The interceptions will be set to aggressive. As I mentioned earlier, Aguero would potentially every now and then pose a pressing threat towards the opposition's backline, and that's why I have set him to aggressive. And then finally, you want him to come back on defense, and this will help generate this 4-2-3-1 system. And if you more or less want just a front 2, you can set him to either having a basic defensive support or alternatively stay further forward, and this will help generate that strike partnership up front at all times. The role of your left and right attacking midfielders, or your left and your right midfielders, depending on how you see them. Now, essentially, they do have very similar roles with a few variations and tweaks to them. Now, essentially, David Silva was deployed on the left-hand side, having a natural left-footed player to whip in crosses or just supply an outlet from that wider left space at times, and the likes of Samir Nasri was right-footed, and he could do the same on the right-hand side. Now, for the likes of Silva, you want him to be able to come back on defense, as he would often drop quite deep and help facilitate in those deeper areas of the field, but also look to try and help back on the defensive phases of play. The support on crosses should be set to stay on the edge of the box, as he wouldn't always break into the box. He would more or less be the chief playmaker, the wide playmaker, and look to try and supply the fullbacks with those potential killer balls from the edge of the area, or alternatively look to try and facilitate the offensive play from the edge of the box. The positioning freedom will be set to free roam, and this is a key feature for both of these players, as you do want them to either interchange or drift into those central areas and try and combine with the other midfielders, looking to try and create a good, playmaking role for both the left and the right attacking midfielder. And then finally, the interception should be set to normal. Onto the right attacking midfielder, and there are a few tweaks and changes to it. A basic defensive support should be applied for him, as well as a balanced crossing run. Every now and then you would see the likes of Nasri breaking into the box, or alternatively staying on the edge of the area and looking to help facilitate the offense. And the same would be applied for the defensive support. You would see him at times drop back and help support the defense, especially if Man City were playing up against a better side. He would be required to track back, but other times he would allow the likes of David Silva to drop quite deep and get on the ball. But essentially, both of these players could fulfill both of these effective roles. But you'll see here, he is also set to free roam and, of course, normal interceptions. A double pivot consisting of Gareth Barry as well as Yaya Toure was quite effective and proved to be an essential building block to the success of the side. And a lot of it was put down to, or put on the shoulders of Yaya Toure's ability to carry the ball over long distances and be able to effectively create a lot of opportunities in those wider areas for other players with his long-range passing abilities, whilst also using his physicality to Manchester City's advantage. So for the defensive behavior, you want him to maintain a balanced defensive approach, not really looking to be too aggressive, but he can look to drop into his position and help defend when needed. The ability for him to get forward, though, will be a requirement, as you do want him getting nice and high up the field and almost functioning as a central attacking midfielder in certain moments, looking to try and unlock the central areas of the field for the side. The interceptions will be set to conservative, as yes, Yaya Toure was a fantastic box-to-box player, but every now and then he would be quite lazy and not really come back and help support on the defensive end. The positioning freedom should be set to being the deep-lying playmaker. Both of your two number 6s will be deep-lying playmakers, as both could drop into the space, show for the ball in that first phase build-up play, and be very effective with trying to distribute the ball from those deeper areas. And then finally, for this man right here, Yaya Toure, you'd want him to try and cover the wing areas. Whereas the likes of a Gareth Barry or even a Nigel de Jong was kind of have a lot more of the defensive pressure on them. So you would want them to be able to have that good zonal approach where they could drift along the backline, look to try and sweep up in front of that backline area and break up the play as best as possible. Not really trying to get forward as much as you want them to stay back while attacking, paired up with the deep lying playmaker role as well as cover the central areas. Now onto the fullbacks, and at the time Man City had 4 really good attacking fullbacks in Zabaleta and Michael Richards on the right hand side, and of course Kolarov, a fantastic player in his day, free kick king. But Kolarov and of course Gael Clichy, a new signing from Arsenal, made that summer. Now all 4 of them were brilliant at getting forward and overlapping and working their way into that wider space, and due to the fact that David Silva and Nasri would focus their attacking play in the central areas, it would kind of focus the defense from the opposition into those central areas as well, giving the likes of a Kolarov or a Michael Richards the freedom to bomb on and bomb into open space and supply crosses and cutbacks from those wider areas. And that is exactly what you see here with the player instructions. Join the attack as well as overlap. Otherwise, everything else should be set to basic. As you'll see here for the right back, join the attack and overlap. You want them always consistently in those wider areas, looking to try and help supply the width to the offense. The 2 centre backs, and at the time it was mainly the likes of Vincent Kompany and Joleon Lescott, they will be set to the base set of instructions. You don't need to make too many changes. They were quite decent or even good for that era of football, with being able to play out from the back, but it wasn't really a massive requirement under Mancini. He kind of allowed them to lump the ball along and try and exploit the opposition through quick transition. So it was a very much needed attributes that they could read the game very well and look to be able to play out from the back, or alternatively have a plan B and go along with the opportunities. And the same would be applied to Joe Hart. You don't need him to be a sweeper keeper, and in fact that is why Pep Guardiola got rid of him in the first place, because he isn't going to be the keeper that runs off of his line and sweeps up behind his backline defense. He's more of a goalkeeper that's going to stay on his line, make those 1v1 type situation saves, and make sure that he's on his line at all times. One thing I will say though is Joe Hart was a fantastic cross-claimer, very aggressive in the air, very good at being able to alleviate the stress on a Kompany or a Lescott in the backline areas, especially when those crosses were fired into the box. And there you go, people. That is how I would successfully go ahead and implement and replicate Manchester City's title-winning side from the 2011-2012 season under Roberto Mancini. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you don't mind, smash that like button down below, subscribe, and do all that good, cool stuff. I would be absolutely, well, I would appreciate it a lot. To be honest with you, we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers, so if you're not subscribed, please go ahead and click that big red button, as well as join the Brom Squad Gaming Discord server. We chat everything FC24, everything FC25. That's almost around the corner as well. So if you guys don't mind, join up with that as well. That would be fantastic. And yeah, we are going to hop on into the gameplay where we can discuss these tactics in further detail. Okay, people, Man City versus the mighty Liverpool. Of course, we are going with a hybrid 4-2-3-1/4-4-2 system, depending on how you see it, really. We have deployed the attacking midfielder as the striker, as you saw with the tactical approach, but that kind of replicates a very nice role for the Aguero role. So anyways, we build, we move, we go on. And yeah, we will be trying to implement a possession-based brand of football, but of course, it wasn't the be-all and end-all for Roberto Mancini, although in that season, I'm pretty sure Man City had around 57% on average possession, which was the second highest in the league. How's that for some stats? Attacking the half space, the attacking midfielder, okay, well, in this case, it's Bernardo Silva, but during that time, it would have been David Silva. And the likes of Alisson is looking to go along into the likes of Mohamed Salah, up against a very good left back who can defend quite well, and we've done a great job in trying to break up the play there. Going long with it, into the front line, immediately back to front, quick transition play. That almost worked. That almost worked very, very well. And normally it would have been to the opposite striker who would then tower in and header the ball and win the aerial duel. But we went straight into the likes of Aguero there, which wasn't too bad in its own right. And it's a great save. That's a great save. That is a good, early sign here from the goalkeeper in Ortega. Now, of course, I put in Ortega over Edison because Ortega is a better shot-stopping goalkeeper than, Edison. But anyways, we go again. It's a second corner to Liverpool, and they have gone with a big towering in ball off the head of Virgil van Dijk to the back post area, and they have fouled Bernardo Silva there. Okay. Again, just looking to build out. It will always be up to the centre-backs with who they want and how they want to play and how they want to try and construct the offense. Some good interchange here. Some good play. Good hold-up play as well from the right-sided striker. Into Yaya Touré's position, who has tried to lay it off. It could have been something special. Into Julian Alvarez, who could have been one-on-one with the goalkeeper there. Not many teams play with a front two system, and that should be a great goal for Liverpool. But not many teams play with a front two system, so matching up with a front four versus a back four, it can lead to quite a few little 1v1 exchanges and interchanges that do lead to, goal-scoring opportunities. But anyways, we have got it all to do now in this game. Great step-up ability. Forward play directly into the striker who is looking to challenge Virgil van Dijk, and it is off the goddamn post. Oh my god! It was a great opportunity. It was a great chance taken. Unfortunately, no real fruits for my hard labor. Just drop back into the space, boys. Drop back into the positions, and you see they do tend to do this quite well and quite effectively. As the fullback intercepts the play, but we also lose the ball. But Johnny Boy Stones is there, just lumping it long. Can't deal with the pressure. And big Virgil van Dijk is there, but we've won the header. We've won the secondary ball. We've gone long with it into the likes of Erling Haaland, who is playing the role of Dzeko. Dzeko's got a massive pace boost in this situation. Half time. Now we are 1-0 down, but in terms of how we've been playing the long balls from the goalkeeper further forward into the strikers, the fact that we have gone very direct with our play, the two striker link-up has been good. The likes of Kevin De Bruyne, aka Yaya Touré's position, he has been able to get forward. So yes, the scoreline says we are down. Bad. But the tactics have displayed very, very nicely. So the stats at halftime read that we have got 56% possession compared to Liverpool's 44%, which is more or less around that season's average. 57 was that season's average. We haven't really been able to do a lot on the offensive end with only just 2 shots, and one of them obviously hitting the post, and an expected goals of 0.3 compared to a 0.6 for Liverpool. Of course, they scored a goal. 52 passes compared to just 26, 5 tackles compared to 2. Of course, when we get into our defensive shape and structure, the minute Liverpool enter those midfield zones, we do look to press and probe and put in the tackles and all that good stuff, which Liverpool are tending to do quite a bit. The pass accuracy is at 57 compared to 92. Of course, we are going to be launching quite a few long balls, and that does tend to decrease the pass accuracy. Yes, we know. But the dribble success rate is at 93% compared to just 85 for Liverpool. A lot of our possession has been maintained with the goalkeeper in the central midfield areas, and of course in the central attacking areas with the likes of the left and the right attacking midfielder getting on the ball, and of course the two strikers looking to link up very effectively. We do need to improve that and maybe push that possession high up the field to try and pin Liverpool back in their own half, although Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool are quite good at being able to counter-attack, so we also need to be wary of that, and that is where the mid-block will come into play and make sure that we aren't getting exploited through the wingers of Salah and Luis Diaz and all that good stuff. And as you'll see there for Liverpool, a lot of their possession has been maintained with the centre-backs and a few blotches in the midfield and, of course, up front in the attack. So just taking a look at our passing patterns and, of course, a lot of forward passes into the forward line who would then look to try and link up with each other, we might need to get the likes of 20 and 10, of course, Samir Nasri and, of course, the likes of David Silva, more involved in the game. They have been somewhat isolated at times, haven't really been able to get on the ball, dictate the tempo, link up very effectively in the central area. So that is something that we will focus on. But otherwise, apart from the scoreline, I'm very happy with how these tactics have displayed. Into the fullback, who is looking to whip in across. He has done so at the back post. Almost. Win it. Thank you. Rodri, thank you. Win the ball. Thank you very much. Just winning the ball back and now looking to get it up into those attacking midfielders. It was almost a really good moment. It was almost a really good move. And unfortunately, the move broke down. Great ball into the likes of the towering and Dzeko! And it's a great save from Alisson. Wowza. Okay, we've got an opportunity here. Do we take it short? I think we do. Good ball. Back post area. Nobody's there. We almost win the effort on the edge of the box and we lose it. And it now falls to Salah. But we've won it back nicely. We have won it back quite nicely. Good hold-up play. Good hold-up play. Good ball movement, good ball recovery. And now it's into the likes of Jack Grealish, who has taken a shot. He does get cleared out, and it is going to be a penalty. Now, normally, I mean, I am going to take it, and I'm hopefully going to score. But it was a well-worked move there, and Erling Haaland brushes it off and puts it in the back of the net. It's 1-1, 65 minutes gone by. We have deserved that goal. The offensive pressure has been there. We've been able to win the ball back, high up the field, from time to time through some good pressing, the occasional pressing in the central areas as well. Rodri doing the business of Gareth Barry and, of course, Nigel de Jong and all that good stuff. And even the offensive maneuver to get the ball into the right attacking midfielder, that was brilliant. That was great. Good ball movements on the edge of the box, maintaining that good high pressure, and eventually putting the ball in the back of the net through a penalty of chaos. And here we go. Luis Diaz looking to motor down the right space. But the boys are in the box. They're ready and they're waiting for any potential offensive opportunities that might come their way to defend. And we've done so really, really nicely. The likes of Kun Aguero running slightly wider. And of course, Aguero was at times deployed as a left winger, which is a bit weird. I know. Chip pass into Erling Haaland / Dzeko. And that was something that Torre was good at, making those deeper runs further forward, collecting the ball, either popping off shots if the opportunity was there, which maybe I should have taken the shot myself, or alternatively finding a threaded pass into one of the strikers. And again, that is exactly what I went for. That was the option I thought was probably best. Maybe I should have done something better. Anyways, they've got themselves a corner kick. They are going to try and go short with it for some reason. They have gone short with it through the likes of Mohamed Salah. Almost getting the ball back. Defending quite well, and it's a great save from the goalkeeper. There's 5 minutes to go. They are suggesting subs. We don't make subs here in these tactical breakdowns and videos. Good block. Good block attempts. Great block attempts, actually. Can we get the ball back? Can we have an Aguero moments? I'm talking 93 minutes and a few seconds in. There we go. Ref, that's a foul, ref. That's also a foul, ref. Good ball. Good ball forward into Erling Haaland. Can we get an Aguero moments? Erling Haaland. Oh, we might. We might. Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. That was almost. It's a 1-1 draw at the end of the day. It is what it is. We probably should have scored more. I probably made a few bad decisions, but in terms of the overall tactical approach, these tactics are quite good, especially if you do like a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1 system. And yes, the stats at full time read 53% possession to 47 in our favor. 9 shots to 6, considering we only had 2 in the first half. We definitely did ramp up our attacking outlets, and the expected goals of 2.4. So you can see we had a bit more cutting edge and intention with our forward passes and our attacking movements. 14 tackles to 7, 94 passes to 65. They did ramp up their, passing accuracy and as well as, their ball movements in the second half. 9 tackles to just 1. Wowza. We still maintained 87% passing accuracy with a 94% dribble success rate. Anyways, there you have it, people. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Peace. I'm out.